What's going on, everyone? So one of the things many Scream fans have been anxiously waiting and wanting is the conclusion to the Brandon James story, right? Like Scream, the TV series, personally, I'm a huge fan. I really genuinely enjoyed at least the first two seasons of the Scream series. Third season, it's kind of hit or miss. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like, it's good, it's okay. But the Brandon James story, was fantastic. And it showed that, hey, you can have success in the Scream universe outside of the core characters, the OG3, and outside of even Ghostface. Right? That was the whole gimmick of Scream 3. It's Ghostface is back, Roger L. Jackson's voicing it, and it kind of just felt weird. It was just what's going on? It also didn't help that they just basically ended the first two seasons on a cliffhanger and no conclusion, and have yet to touch on it and give us any kind of inclination on what's going to happen. And for years now, there have been rumors and speculation that, hey, if they're going to bring it back, series is going to come back, that they want to continue a series, that they want to do something, but they're kind of on the fence. Do we start fresh and just kind of have this new thing? Do we do and continue the Brandon James story? Basically, everyone from the original cast have all said they would love to do it and whatnot. And so the door is definitely kind of open. It's just are they ever going to go through it? And, when Spyglass and Paramount and all them, when they basically took over the Scream franchise, that was one of the big things that were kind of talked about. Hey, we want to do a series. There was even that speculation because a bunch of the cast members were in LA together and stuff. And it was are they meeting for a discussion, right? You heard all the talk and nothing ended up coming of that. But now the Scream franchise kind of in this weird influx, right? They're kind of at this impassing. And they need to figure out something to kind of get the ship right and be able to head in a direction. And there are a lot of rumors going around right now. There's a lot of speculation on what's going to be the approach. How are we going to go about it? And one of the talks or one of the theories that are running around, again, don't get your hopes up. Don't get too high on this. It's just a theory. But I actually kind of like the theory. I kind of like the idea. But basically, the idea is to take all the characters from the series because they are known by many in the Scream franchise, right? Or Scream fandom. If you haven't seen the series, and this does happen, you're going to need to watch the series, which you should watch the series regardless. It's a really good series. It really is. The first two seasons especially. Third season, again, it's kind of hit or miss with people. But staying on track, the idea is to take the Lakewood Cast and kind of have this crossing paths moment with Sidney Prescott and have this hey, this intertwined story, basically, right? Again, it's kind of just a rumor. It seems to me it's a lot of things just kind of being thrown on the wall and seeing what sticks, which makes sense at this stage. You just lost Melissa Barrera. You just lost Jenna Ortega, right? What do you do? What direction do you go? Right? We don't even know for certain if Sidney is even going to be a part of this. There's rumors that Neve Campbell is signed on or that she was in the talks of signing on, whatever, but that could change, right? Personally, I don't think, a lot of people are already oh, she needs to not be a part of it. She needs to tell them to go whatever themselves, right? And all that stuff. If she wants to be in the movie, she'll be in the movie. If they pay her properly, she'll be in the movie, right? Where were all these people when she got thrown under the bus? Everyone was just oh, that sucks, right? We support her, but everyone's still signed on, right? And it's not easy, especially if she is signed on. It's not easy to just get out of a contract, right? It's not easy to just oh, hey, I'm not going to do this movie anymore, right? It's not. So chances are, my guess is that she's in the movie because I think that they don't really have a choice. I think they're going to have to pay her whatever it is. And look, if I'm Neve Campbell, my price just went up. Right? If she hasn't already signed a contract and hasn't already agreed to terms, I would be pushing hard for hey, you guys are thinking about paying me $3 million? Oh, well, guess what? You're paying me 10. Something like that. Because what other options are you going to start fresh? Go ahead. Good luck. Right? But the idea of crossing Sidney Prescott Prescott with like an Emma Deval, I think makes for a very interesting kind of concept, an interesting idea, right? Like you have the final girl of the series meet up and link up with the final girl of the franchise of the movies, right? Now you kind of have like what the idea would have been most likely for a Scream 7 anyway, which was Melissa as Sam Carpenter teaming up with Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott to take on this big bad. Well, you could do that with Emma Duvall, Willa Fitzgerald's character. You could have her team up with Sidney and have this storyline where they kind of cross paths. And I don't want to like spoil or ruin any of the series for people, just because if they do end up doing something like this, then I want people to be able to go watch those first 2 seasons and kind of enjoy that without running the risk of having me spoil it. So I'm not going to go heavy into spoilers here, but I think an easy establishment point is Kieran, right? Because you know where he's at, you know what's going on with him, right? I think that you could kind of use him as a jumping off point. I think you could kind of have him, right? Maybe he runs into Stu Macher or something. Again, if you know, you know, right? And maybe that's the crossover. Maybe that's the tie-in. And they just have this crazy thing, right? And Scream 5 and 6 isn't even really in this same universe or something, right? Maybe you pick it up after Scream 3, right? Or after Scream 4. Right, because you could do it after Scream 4, because the first season came out in 2015, I believe, off the top of my head. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the first season came out in 2015. So you could do it like after after Scream 4, and you have the Lakewood cast and characters, and maybe you have this back and forth, and part of it is in Lakewood, part of it is in like Woodsboro or something, and then they have to have this meetup. Right? Like, I don't hate the idea. You could even have both masks in it, which I think would be a lot of fun. Right? Imagine if you had, the Scream series mask, and then you had the Ghostface mask. You had the Brandon James mask, and you had the Ghostface mask, and like you have these 2 killers that are running around, just that, Emma and Sidney have to figure out who they are and take on that, and why are they targeting us? How did we all get involved in this? Like, I don't know. I really like the idea, and I think that could be a lot of fun to just bring everybody back, right? And you have a lot of just lovable characters by many, right? Like Noah was a real fan favorite, right? You have Audrey, right? Like you could even, if you wanted to, have some of the characters that didn't survive end up being in this, and vice versa, right? Maybe you do bring a Dewey back, right? If it picks up after Scream 4, Dewey would still be alive. So you could have the Lakewood cast teaming up with the OG3, and you have like this like Avenger thing, right? Like it just, if creative writing can solve a lot, right? I really don't think it would be that difficult to have them cross over, because again, it's all Scream. It's a different mask. It's different, it's a different story. It's not the Billy Loomis thing. It's the Brandon James thing. But still, like, it has its similarities. It has its universal points that you could have. Like, you could easily explain it. I don't think it would be something that would be like, oh, well, like, how? It's not like we know either way Ghostface and stuff are part of Lakewood. Like, for all we know, Lakewood could be a couple miles from Woodsboro, right? Like, it's not something that I think would be difficult if you wanted to, and if you had some good creative writing, to kind of have all these people that have already said that they'd be more than happy to, kind of finish the Brandon James story. You could finish the Brandon James story and tie it into Scream, and there you go, right? Maybe you have some connection to tie. Like, or, you could even pick it up, right? Like, what if, like, I don't know, like, Kieran's dad or something like that had a connection or relationship to, like, Sam and Tara. like in her and their mother, Christina Carpenter, right? Like you could have some connection like that. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that direction just because you don't have Sam and Tara in the movie. But like if you wanted to continue the story and kind of come up with why Sam and Tara aren't in the movie, right? And maybe that's the crossover. I don't know. Or maybe somebody had a relationship with Billy, right? Maybe Kieran's dad had a relationship with Billy. Not like, that way, but like just knew each other, right? And passing or something, or their dads worked together, whatever. I don't know. Like you can have a million directions in which you could go to have this tie in, right? Like I don't know. I don't hate the idea is my point, right? I think it could be fun. I think it could be interesting. Obviously, writing solves everything. It would have my concerns about the writing because I just don't think Scream 5 and 6 personally were greatly written, and they were just these like brilliant masterpieces of writing. I don't, so I definitely have some reservations as far as like, do I trust them to, write a good enough story to tie it all together? But if they do, I don't think it would be a bad idea at all. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Are you all for this? Are you against it? Do you like the idea of a crossover? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. See you all in the next one. Thank you.